Welcome back to a brand new coffee tech break with Jan, your place to be for the latest and greatest on the Poly products, tips and tricks, unboxing and everything you can think of around the Poly products. Now, hopefully you enjoyed my last sessions about the 371. It was quite an intensive update, quite some new features. I'm already looking forward to the next versions coming up, so stay tuned on my channel, subscribe, so you will always be aware if I'm pushing out some new videos. Now, after that session, I got quite some questions about the Studio X70. The features, the rooms where you can use it, different wall mounts, etc. So this session today, I want to dedicate to the Studio X70. As you can see right here, the Studio X70 for those bigger meeting rooms. But actually today I have a surprise for you, and I wanted to show you live the Studio X70 as I have it right here with me. Yes, here it is, the Studio X70, and it looks really nice. I've tested it already with several customers, and it was hard to get it away from the customer. So it's really the device. If you're looking something for your mid to larger rooms, this is really your speaker bar to go for. And if you compare that to the Studio X30, for example, here you go, you can see a comparison between the size. So it's really beefed up with subwoofer tweeters in there. And also you got here that dual 20 megapixel lens, 4K plus, so really production like cameras, and it will switch automatically between those cameras. And so you probably seen some videos on YouTube out there, and so I will put some of those videos also in the comments so you can check it out. And the audio is really superior, really meant for those larger rooms. Now let me check out here on the side. So on the side you got here different connectors, which I also will show you a little bit later in my presentation. So you got here different LAN connectors. You got here analog in and out, and on the other side you got also some connectors here like a dual screen, HDMI in, and there's USB connectors for touchscreens. It's really ready for your bigger rooms, and also it's all in one. And so there's no additional computer. You just got this on the screen and you're ready to go. Of course, you can use it, same thing, in combination with the TC8. So that's the same TC8 we use with the Studio X30 and X50, and you're ready to go. Now, what I want to do today is walk you through a presentation and show you all those benefits of the new Studio X70. As usual, take a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and I will walk you through this presentation. So where does the Studio X70 fit in that overall portfolio? Now, as you've seen, X30 for that focus room and smaller rooms. You can even use it in home office. I use it in combination with a touchscreen. Very nice. Dedicated video system, always ready to use. Now, if you go a little bit more to that mid-size room, dual screen, you got that X50. Ready to go, dual speakers, stereo speakers in there, ready to beef that mid-size room. Now, we got now the whole story complete. For your larger rooms, we have the Studio X70 now. Really powerful, beefed with tweeters, with subwoofers inside. And so we got really that good, powerful speaker bar in that meeting room. And additionally, we have, of course, the G7500. So don't forget it. The G7500 is really meant for those rooms where you want to integrate with DSP providers, different cameras, etc. As you will see at the end, all of those providers will be supported on those different devices. But as I said, it could always take some time to get through a certification process. Now, if you look at Studio X70, I think really powerful, especially again that all-in-one concept. One speaker bar includes that compute, includes that superior mics. You got that speakers inside, really powerful. And as I said, I've been going through several customers now demonstrating the X70, and it was really hard to get it out again. The customers really liked it. Dual screen support, as you see here, so you can hook up those dual screens, got HDMI ingest ready to go, and of course you can always put that TC8 at the table if you want, which is just connected to the network. So you pair this up over the network, make sure the TC8 has that PoE, and you're ready to go. Really nice. Studio X70. Now, if you then look at those different rooms, there's different options also to integrate it. So as you see here, you can put it under the screen, hook it up to the wall, or you can hook it up to a VESA plate. On the other side, you can put it on top of the screen. As I said, we recommend to hook it up to the wall to make sure that it stays. Now let's look at the hardware I/O in the Studio X70. First off, you got content sharing options. The Poly OS mode is similar than StudioX and G7500, so you can share content using the HDMI ingest or using AirPlay, using Miracast. Now, if you use it in Zoom mode, you just depend on the Zoom application. So you use Zoom on your laptop, Zoom on your mobile phone, and there they got built-in application sharing wirelessly. And so in a meeting, out of a meeting, that doesn't matter. I think that is really powerful. And so always, depending on the different application you use, how to share content. Now, this device is really powerful. It's similar camera like we have with the E70. And so you can imagine that this camera is built into the X70. You add speakers and you're ready to go. Now, all that functionality that we know from Poly, like speaker track, group track, etc., that is all built into this device. And you have that similar 4K plus 20 megapixel lenses in there, production-like cameras, really powerful. And I will talk a bit later how these cameras will work in those meeting rooms. Now, on the back, you got USB ports. So you can use this device, for example, in Poly OS mode or in the Zoom mode. You can connect it also to touchscreens. And you can use whiteboard or initiate meetings through the calendar. So it's all built into this device. Again, it's similar if you look at the X50, which is also dual screen, it's that similar functionality. Now, the speakers, I think this is really a big difference. So the speakers are really powerful. You got inside that bass port, those tweeters, which gives really that additional, that sound in the room, that full sound in the room, especially for those larger rooms, which you're able to fill up with enough audio. Now, what we also have in here are the air quality sensors. So you can measure the quality of the room. And so after 1 hour, you can set alarms, for example, to get out of the room, make sure everybody gets some fresh air. And I think really nice. It's not used today, but in the future, we can take benefits of all those air quality sensors. And these are, by the way, these are also in the E70. And so that is good to know. Now let's look at the hardware I/O. So as I showed you in the beginning, we got the analog in, we got analog out. We have the option for an expansion mic, similar mic we have for the Studio USB and for the X50. Don't know if that is needed but there's always an option. We got that LAN port, which you see right here, and there is an additional port for future use. Now, good to know, it doesn't supply any power on that port. So if we're going to use that in the future, you might need to add an injector to give it enough power. So we can use that in the future for any additional devices to be hooked up. And here we have the power. Now, and on the right side, we have the dual screen, and so screen 1 and screen 2, where you, for example, can put the participants on screen 1 and the presentation on screen 2. You got your HDMI ingest. We have here two USB ports, which you're able to use for a touchscreen, for example. And we got the USB-C port that will be used for device mode. Now, this device is really made for those larger rooms, 7.5 to 8 meters easily. So how does it do that? So it has different microphones on the front side. And so you got here on the front, you see those omnidirectional microphones, more for the speakers nearby, but it also has a second order of microphones which can go further into the room. Let me show you that. Here we have the X70. Now, here are those omnidirectional microphones here at the top. Now, as you can see, we got also that second order of microphones, which you see right here. You got one here and you got one here on the other side, as you can see. And these are really second order microphones, which will be able to go deeper into the room. Now, let's look at the camera in the Studio X70. Similar as the E70. So you got that camera below, which is really a wide angle camera, 120 degrees. So you can capture up to 5 meters in the meeting room. Now, if you got speakers further in the room, it's got that second camera at the top. And that can go up to 7.5, 8 meters. It's a 70-degree lens, which is really able to go further into that room. Really nice. And there's a really nice production rules between those two cameras. So if somebody's speaking at the front and it needs to transition to a speaker who's further in the room, there will be a sort of production rules, like a very nice dissolve. And I will put some links in the comments where you can check out some videos to see that. But the experience is very much appreciated by the customers. And the forehand camera is going here up to 7.5, 8 meters. I've been in customer rooms which were up to 12 meters. So mic pickup, don't underestimate. It's very powerful of the Studio X70. Now let's look at the different mounting options because I always get a lot of questions about that. Which mounting options are there available to make sure if you order X70 that you got that right mounting there. Now, you can put it on top of the screen, you can put it under the screen. On the back you got that plate, which is similar when you hook it up with a table stand, when you hook it up to the wall, etc. And we'll show you that in a bit. Now also what is important, you got here two bus reflex ports. Now make sure that you put this against the wall. So you really got that reverb from that bass into that room. That gives you that most optimal experience. Now what comes along with the X70? So that's the wall mount. So this is the side which will go on the back of the X70. And so you hook that up here, and on the other side on the wall you have that other connector. And so it really clicks into each other, and something against the wall and something in the back of the X70, and you're really able to connect that to the wall. There's also some cable guidance here, really nice, and it's similar to the X50, which also comes with a wall mount. Similar to this table stand. So as you see here, table stand exactly the same as the X50. So I already have some customers who want to put the X50 sort of mid-sized room and replace that with the X70. They're looking for that additional camera power, maybe that additional speaker power with the X70. But you can even, you can always reuse all those components and reuse the X50 in another room. I think that's all very flexible. The VESA, and here we have, which was asked by a lot of people also for the X50, here we have now the option for the 800 by 400 VESA pattern and for those 86 inch screens. So this was by default with the X50, the 600 by 600, and now we're offering also for the X70 the 800 by 400. And of course you can use that same VESA kit also with an X50 if you want. But we expect, of course, for those bigger rooms that customers will probably use the X70. Now, similarly, you can put it on top of the screen or you can put it under the screen. And then you can really nicely integrate that and make sure that it's fixed on the screen and use that in your meeting room. Now, hopefully, this gives you some insights into those different wall plates. I also added the product codes, so you're always easy to find this back. Next one, the interface. So the Studio X70 has a local web interface where you can configure the different components, as similar as you have with the X30 and X50. Now, let me show you that. Now, here you see the web interface, similar as X30, X50 and G7500. So you can log in here and then you can see all the information, our system status, so you can see if the network is connected, camera is working properly, etc. And you see I'm running this one in the Zoom room mode, running the latest version as today 5.8. I'm running the 371, very important on the X70, because that's the one from where the X70 is officially supported, as you've also heard in the earlier video. Now, similar to the other devices, you can go to provider and you can easily switch to other providers if you want. They have Poly for the A Studio SIP, so you can use PackSip, for example, to connect to Teams or Rail Connect, and also you can switch to those other providers. Teams is not in yet, so that is all still in the process. Now, what is also important, network connectivity. Similar, there's Wi-Fi inside the Studio X70. So what I've already done with several demonstrations, I just hooked it up to my mobile phone as a hotspot, and so I was easily do demonstrations. And then in combination with Zoom, you, for example, have also the remote control on your phone, so you can start meetings, initiate calls, tracking control as a group track, speaker track, etc. And that works really well. Just using my phone as an hotspot, bringing it in to a customer to just quickly show the power of the X70, so they're able to experience that in those different rooms. That was the local web interface of the device, especially for my demonstrations, always handy. Now, if you got bigger rollouts, recommend PolyLens. So you got that centralized management, you can create groups, you can change speaker track to group track if you want for different rooms. You can initiate a factory reset if you got some issues in some rooms to make sure and the device is going back into the defaults. There's a lot of things which you can do from the PolyLens side. I always recommend to just try it out with one of your devices and test it out to see if it's also for your environment, if it's a fit. What about the expansion options? So I know the X70 is already a very powerful speaker for those large meeting rooms, but I know there are some specific use cases where it makes sense to add some additional microphone functionality. For example, in the educational market, the teacher standing in front of the classroom talking to the classroom. So I can imagine in these use cases, you want to put in front of the teacher, you want to put an additional mic. And so while he's talking to the classroom, that additional microphone on the table is able to pick that up. And similar that we have with the X50, you can enable both microphones. So that additional microphone at the table to pick up a teacher, and also if students then ask questions, the microphones also in the X70 and of course will pick that up. So there are some specific use cases where it makes sense to add those additional microphones. As a sandbox, you can also use the Sync family as a wired extension mic in that meeting room. Again, as a sandbox, so it's not officially supported yet, but you can hook up a Sync family speaker device, just put that somewhere on the table, maybe there's a certain discussion or something, you can always just pick a Sync 40 or Sync 60 and put that on the table. But here you will transfer the speaker and mic functionality from the X70 to that speaker, to that specific table. So I can imagine some specific use cases where you got those discussions, and then you got always the possibility to extend that with those wireless speakers. Similar to Trio, So you can pair it up, and you even have some controls on the trio, which you can use to control the X70. But check always the release notes and what is supported. If you're looking at multiple trios, for example, similar to the TC8, always check with the different platforms if they support those multiple TC8s. So now, for example, Zoom will be able to support those multiple trios, multiple TC8s. And also you can add third-party DSP functionality. So if you really want to go deeper into that room and you really want to extend that, or the customer already has a third-party DSP integration with QSC, Shure, or LIAM, you're able to hook that up also to the Studio X70. So you can really benefit from that camera and build in the built-in application functionality and extend that into that meeting room, reusing those third-party DSPs. Now, looking at the video provider support, I think that's always very important. So which providers are supported on the Studio X70? Well, first off, think of the VESA platform. So that is H3 SIP integrated now into Teams using the CVI of VESA. I think really powerful. They also have that click to join integration. So you go into that calendar, just click join, and you can enjoy your Teams meeting. Really powerful. Now, one of the native applications is, for example, Ring Central. So we have that available on the device. You just select it in the provider mode and you're able to use it. Similar for Zoom. So you can just put it natively into Zoom and enjoy that in your larger rooms. Go to Room is also available. So you can select that, and watch out in one of my upcoming videos where I will do an unboxing and a walkthrough of that first experience with Go to Room. They did a lot of innovation also on the user experience side, so I will take you through that experience. Same with Starleaf. They did also a great job on the user experience. I really enjoy that interface that they are using. So I will probably also do soon an update on their interface. So I guess all the application providers are doing a tremendous job on creating that best user experience that they can. Really nice. Well, we got Blue Jeans, which is still in the beta, but it is available. We got Dialpad as an option with the X70 to test that out. Of course, we got Poly mode. That's the standard mode, the H3 SIP mode. There you can also integrate it with Teams using Rail Connect. And also you got that one touch down, so you can click on that join button and enjoy that Teams meeting. Now, and if you want to connect to Teams, as I said, you got to use Rail Connect today, as the native Teams application is not available yet. So till that time, I recommend to use just Microsoft CVI, PackSip, or Rail Connect via the Poly mode, and you're able to use that till that time. Now, what I always recommend is to check out the release notes. And there's a lot of information out there with the latest and greatest. So which application is supported on which device. So always check that out. Here you see a snapshot of that, but let me show you where you can find this information. You go to support.polycom.com, and as I said, you click to Documents and Software, and what you will find is that the X70 and the E70 are available now. So you go here to the Studio X family, so we had already the X30, X50, and as you can see, we also have the X70 now. It is available, so you can find the software here, you can find a link to the release notes, but also what is good to know is under documentation you will also find the wall mount options. So you got here PDFs available, and they're easily laying out here the VESA plate, how to hook it up, etc. And similar to the stand, similar to the wall mount, you got all those options here. So check out the Poly support website where you're able to find it. Now, similar to the E70. So if you look now under peripherals, what you will see, there's now the Studio X70 also available. And so you see here the latest software release also with the release notes. And also what you will find here is the audio service software. What is the audio service software? Good to know. If you want to use speaker track with a Teams Room system, you need to have this file running on your Teams Room system. And that will be able to counter back the far-end audio to the E70. And that means you got that most optimal tracking. Because you can imagine if you got some audio coming out of loudspeakers, for example, you enable speaker track, the camera will listen to that sound and trying to find the speaker. So canceling out that far-end audio, which we had on the eGuide director also, we had that using the 3.5 millimeter. This one is much easier. You just install this file, it's just running as a service, and it's able to cancel out that far-end audio. And so make sure you use that file and install that. Now, probably it will come by default with most Teams Room systems at the end, but for now, the systems or the current systems, you probably need to install it. And I will do a video or specifically on the E70 coming up. So watch out for videos on that area also. Now here ends the technical deep dive of the Studio X70. Now if you got any technical questions, just put them in the comments and I will be able to respond. Also, if you like this type of video and there's more coming up, just subscribe to my channel and I will keep you updated on any new software updates, new hardware, new unboxing videos, etc. Thank you for watching and I'm already looking forward to the next one.